Hello, folks. This is Greg Gilbert, host of Python's Paradise, and welcome to the Dollhouse. Well, actually, welcome to Python's Paradise. But that other is going to be one of the films we're going to be talking about. As we discuss further in 1996, my first year as a film critic, May 1996. I got 5 titles I'd like to discuss from that month. And of course, May is generally the month where they start gearing up for blockbuster summer. But of course, even though May is still technically in spring. But although that's gotten earlier, blockbuster films are starting to come out in April. But nonetheless, I got 5 films I want to talk about from May. I know I've done 6 in the others, but I thought, I'll just do 5. It works better for me. Anyway, we're going to start. And some of these films we didn't even get here, Some played down at the university, which I was getting versed with the university here at the time, but not to the extent that I would be in terms of their screenings. And they always screen some of these indie films like Welcome to the Dollhouse or I Shot Andy Warhol or movies like that. But I'm going to start with May 1st with I Shot Andy Warhol. I didn't. I'm not confessing to that. I'm not an expert on Andy Warhol. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. I'm familiar with who he is. I've seen images of him and various stuff, like the movie 54. Sean Sullivan's playing him, and I know he had involvement in other things. He was even at the War to Settle the Score before WrestleMania. I don't know why, but he was there. But I'm certainly familiar with him, and but I don't know a whole lot about him because he's not somebody I checked out a lot. But I am definitely familiar with Lily Taylor, who played Valerie, the woman that apparently shot him. And I guess this is based on a true story, although, again, I didn't look into it. This is a film we did not get here in our theaters. It did play down at the university, but like I said, I didn't start venturing. I didn't see a film at the university until I attended a 2-night Halloween screening down there of The Exorcist in 1996. So in May, I was not attending anything down there. But I did get to sit down and watch I Shot Andy Warhol recently, and really enjoyed it. I always love films that try to do something different, and these indie darlings that are creative without having to need a big budget to do it. And you get a knockout performance by Lily Taylor as Valerie, who really wants to be heard. She wants Andy Warhol to produce her play. Problem is, everybody thinks she's fucking nuts. And of course, dealing with Andy Warhol's world, I don't know how they'd even think she was nuts. Andy Warhol's world kind of reminds me of the scenes at the hippie party and Midnight Cowboy, It kind of puts me in mind of that. But nonetheless, they can't take her seriously, and she starts to get a little pushy. She overthinks, which is something I can relate to. There's nothing worse than overthinking and end up fucking yourself because you think the worst, even though nothing has happened, and you end up causing things to get worse. That's happened to me I don't know how many times, so I certainly understand her mindset. I've never taken it to those divisions. The worst I've done is get fired from a job. She went so far as to shoot somebody. and then spend a long time and sanitarium. But nonetheless, I love the look of the film. Obviously, nobody takes her writing, which is apparently very crass, very blunt, very direct. And of course, she's also does a lot of street work on top of that. But I really like this film. I think it was very powerful. And again, you got that lead performance that really helms it. And Lily Taylor does not get a lot of leads in movies, but here she sells it, and she's perfectly cast. I Shot Andy Warhol. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. Easily one of the best films for the year, and certainly one of the best for May 1996. I chose it as one of my 5 to talk about. Now, moving a couple days later to May 3rd, I got a couple of films I'm going to talk about, neither of which I saw screened in 1996. I believe we did get them, at least one of them anyway. Yeah, at least one of them anyway, but in 1996 I started film criticism pretty early, but I wasn't quite dipping my toe into it the way I would. And of course, I've kind of pulled away from it somewhat. But in choosing the 5 films I want to talk about, I got to discuss 2 from May 3rd. One, of course, is Barb Wire, which I don't know whether we got that here or not. We might have got that at Old Twin Cinemas. But I didn't see that in theaters, but I got to discuss it. Oh, boy. I don't know what director David Hogan was thinking, but I'm going to tell you, look, as a straight male, Pamela Anderson is great to look at, Everybody liked what they saw with her. She had a gorgeous body. She had a beautiful face. She's beautiful blonde hair. She was the total package. Seeing her in tight, black, skin-tight outfits, does not hurt the eyes any. However, getting somebody that can get on screen and act, that's another story altogether. Probably, I've not been somebody that watched Baywatch, I love seeing Borat try to abduct her in his movie, but this movie, I could not take her serious. Not that we're supposed to take her seriously, but she's supposed to be one of these secret agent types, who goes in, rescues this girl here at the beginning of the film, and just her nonchalant, I don't give a shit, fuck you tone. There are some action stars, like your Schwarzeneggers or your Stallones, who can deliver that and get away with it. She delivers it, and I just fucking laugh at her, And there were points in this, I could not take her seriously. Of course, her name's Barb Wire, I think she had to be wired. The film is great to look at, not just Pamela Anderson. I mean, it was a slick done film, but I just felt that the whole thing was just the director knew what he was doing. He pointed the camera at her, and every guy in the audience liked what they saw. I won't get into what they were doing as they were seeing her, but you pretty much can pick that up on your own. This movie is a clusterfuck of shit. I'll give it a D-. Don't look for any strong writing in this film, It is what it is. So, a D-. It's easily the worst of the 5 I'm going to be talking about. However, if you want a good laugh, and a good and intentional laugh, you might enjoy it, It's one of those films I can look at if I just want to laugh at something, The other film, I know we got it, I just didn't see it, in 1996, was The Craft. The Craft is an interesting film because in 1996, I don't know how well it did at the box office. I'm assuming it did well enough. What really gets me is it belongs on the same list as films like Cable Guy and The Frighteners, as films that were released in 1996 that didn't have a huge audience whenever they were released, but seemed to have gained that cult following. Because there's been horror film conventions out there where The Craft has had reunions of the cast, So I'm like, okay, this film has garnered enough of a cult following that it's gotten attention by the conventions. And it's a pretty straightforward story. It's got an interesting premise. It's about 4 girls who they all have witchcraft powers, and they use those powers to enact some revenge on people that have pissed them off. It's like Heathers with witchcraft, One of the girls, the new girl at the school, just kind of learning her powers, and the other girls seek her out to try to all unite for a really bad cause. They want to craft a really bad cause. She doesn't exactly want to go that route. Robin Tunney is the good witch, I guess you could call her. And Fairuza Balk is kind of the mean girl, like the Rachel McAdams mean girl witch of the group, whom Tunney has to go head-to-head with, You got Neve Campbell and Rachel True as the other two, This is the same year, of course, Neve Campbell did Scream. The Craft is a great-looking film. It's got a lot of great special effects in it. And, of course, it's got that teen movie vibe, so it appeals to young people. I don't know if I'd show it to young people, at least not outside teenagers, But I don't know. I think the witchcraft element is a little bit too dark for really, really young viewers. I don't know how young I would say, but maybe I should say impressionable minds, but I don't know. I like The Craft. I give it an A-. Certainly better than Barb Wire. I don't think there's any amount of fucking magic that can make Barb Wire good. Those girls would probably put their powers together. They would make The Craft anyway to make that film good. But an A- for The Craft. But it's not as good as I shot Andy Warhol. Or maybe they conjured up her so she'd shoot Andy Warhol. Who knows? Maybe they put a axe on her. Next, we're going to shoot way ahead to May 24th, where I got 2 films I want to talk about. One was a bit of a disappointment to me, but not like Barb Wire. And it's one I did see, and I seen that as a double billing with Brain Candy, which we got late. And I saw it at the Northside Cinemas. I love Brain Candy. If you check out my April list, and that was not only my favorite of the films I talked about, but it was also the best of the 5 I talked about. But in this case, the one I was most looking forward to was Spy Hard. I really wanted to see Spy Hard, and I went and saw it, and I mean, you'd have to spy really hard to find something worse than Barb Wire, Go back and kick that dead horse, But I mean, Spy Hard had a lot of chuckles in it. But here's the thing, Leslie Nielsen, I think, is one of the funniest people I've ever seen. I put him right up there. I always laugh at Peter Sellers. I always laugh at Leslie Nielsen. But sometimes, the shtick repeats itself. Leslie Nielsen was great in Airplane. And he was great in all three, not just one, but all three Naked Gun movies. And the Doctor he played in Airplane and Frank Drebin he plays in the Naked Gun movies are both different characters, you know. But I find everything that Leslie Nielsen did after the Naked Gun movies has been pretty much a variation of Frank Drebin, including his role in Spy Hard. With that said, I know this sounds like a criticism, and it is. I still laugh at Leslie Nielsen, even though he's not exactly branching out. He is playing a secret agent. They're making fun of the James Bond movies with an interesting little Bond theme opening sung by Weird Al Yankovic. I love the name of his agent, Agent WD-40, which I thought was pretty funny, you know. And I love the A-Team reference at the beginning of it with Mr. T, you know, and but, you know, Leslie Nielsen, he's funny, but he's not exactly stretching, you know. I love the fact that they got Andy Griffith to play the villain, the villain with the mechanical arms in the film. I like that because you get to see two veterans, Nielsen and Griffith, go head to head. And I thought Andy Griffith brought something to it, you know. And for the most part, he played it pretty straight, and I like that. And another one I really liked in the film was John Alves, who plays this guy that caught like the transportation for Dick Steele. He constantly showing up with a different vehicle, you know, and he can't do fuck all right, but yet he thinks he's the shit, so to speak. I get a kick out of him too, you know. And another one, of course, you always have the Contact. And the Contact here, of course, is Charles Durning, who seems to blend in with everything. You know, Agent Steele goes into his office and he's blended in with the frickin' chair, you know. Stuff like that. I thought Charles Durning was pretty funny. Nicolette Sheridan as the Bond girl type. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. But doesn't exactly lift off the page, but that's not exactly her fault either, you know. The film had a lot of really good jokes. It's got a lot of funny references in it to movies like Speed and Pulp Fiction and whatnot. But all in all, I couldn't muster up any more than a 5 out of 10 for this movie. I don't think it's terrible. If you're a Leslie Nielsen fan, you're probably going to laugh at it. I certainly laughed at it quite a bit, but it didn't hit the spot like Brain Candy. And it certainly didn't hit the spot like the Naked Gun films or Airplane. But a 5 out of 10. The last film I'm going to talk about, as you may recall on my opening here, is Welcome to the Dollhouse, which we did not get in our theaters here. And I have just more or less dug into that film recently. And boy, I love teen comedies. I mean, I'm 51 right now, and I got to tell you, I remember what a nightmare it was growing up and trying to relate and trying to fit in, and it was not fun. And you got, I'm going to butcher her name, but Heather, is that Tazio? I'm going to butcher her last name, and my apologies, you know. I don't want to disrespect her, but she delivers a great performance as this poor girl who's going through middle school, and she is being tormented, and I can relate so well to this. She's threatened. I mean, one of the kids even threatens to rape her. She lives in a household that faults her for everything, favors her siblings, especially her sister, who they think is just the apple of their eye. And she's having a hard struggle finding out where she belongs in life. And by the end of the film, you know, you get the feeling, you know, she's gonna have to sing along on the bus with everybody else because she may not have a choice in life. I'm gonna say I know that feeling, but I'm gonna say this. I say fuck you to that kind of feeling. I say welcome to the dollhouse, but make that dollhouse your fucking own. Make it your dollhouse, because you know what? You're master of your universe, and you could have a lot of people tell you you can or can't do something. But it's the Heathers of the world that end up making the biggest impact in the end. So I give this film a 10 out of 10. So we've had a couple of 10 out of 10s on this May list. You know, I Shot Andy Warhol and Welcome to the Dollhouse. And both are fantastic. The best one between the two, I'd say probably Welcome to the Dollhouse. Personal favorite, I would almost want to say Spy Hard, but that was such a letdown, thinking back to it. But I gotta say, the one I can really relate to, I mean, there's elements of Lily Taylor I can relate to when I Shot Andy Warhol, but I gotta say, in terms of relatability, Welcome to the Dollhouse for sure, you know. And of course, the worst of the five, Barb Wire. Although it's still a laugh right to watch. Not a waste of time if you want something to laugh at, but nonetheless, you know, you got some great ones there to take a look at, you know. And you know, if you're a big horror fan, check out The Craft, you know. But I say with I Shot Andy Warhol and Welcome to the Dollhouse, you can't go wrong there. So, folks, until we move on to June 1996, I say, welcome to the Dollhouse. Welcome to your world. Make it your own. Make it great.